Hey guys, this is part 4, I think, of when Naruto went back in time with Sasuke. It might be part 3, I kind of forgot. First to start, sorry if I sound kind of tired or not as enthusiastic as normal or as usual. It's mainly because, well, I haven't really gotten sleep, so I'm pretty tired right now, or pretty sleepy. So, yeah, if I sound kind of tired or sleepy, that's why. Either way, let's get back into the what if. So in the last part I left off, I'm pretty sure right after the preliminary rounds, so this is the 1 month training that they get, and Kakashi and Sasuke would have went to go train together, because Kakashi asked Sasuke and Sasuke agreed, but in reality Sasuke is basically training Kakashi. He basically wanted Kakashi to ask, but in reality, if instead of Kakashi training Sasuke, Sasuke would be training Kakashi and helping him out with more, getting more chakra reserves and being able to do more Chidori's and helping him out with the Sharingan and all that. And so yeah, in the meantime, it's mainly just Sakura and Naruto hanging out a bit because at this point they have like Sakura doesn't think of Naruto as annoying anymore. He doesn't really mind Naruto and thinks of him as a friend now. Mainly because Sasuke trusts Naruto like with his life, and so that's shown Sakura that she can really trust Naruto. And so yeah, for the most part they're hanging out, and Naruto's also helping Sakura train more. Uh, yeah, and eventually Naruto gets called down to the Hokage's office, and Naruto's kind of confused because he thought for a second he did something wrong, but then he realizes that how could he have done something wrong? And so then he heads up there, and what's called the third Hokage tells Naruto that he has to be that he wants Naruto to fight, and he wants to see his abilities. And Naruto tells the third Hokage that he doesn't have 100% of his abilities. He has a good amount of them, but most of them are either normal, or like his normal ones, or they're too weak, or they take a lot out of him. And the third Hokage said, "It doesn't matter. I still want to see, what you can do right now." And Naruto agrees and asks, "Who am I fighting?" And so the Hokage says, "Well, I'm pretty sure you met him before, but yeah, chances that you haven't are pretty slim." And Naruto starts thinking like, "Huh, somebody I've met before." And Naruto and the third Hokage said he should be here pretty soon. He's one of the three legendary Sannin. He's pretty powerful. And as soon as he heard that, um, Naruto would say, "Are you talking about Jiraiya?" And he would start, getting kind of Vietnam flashbacks, but like happy, kind of sad Vietnam flashbacks about Jiraiya. And as soon as he says his name, like as if he's a genie, Jiraiya just walks through the door and says, "I heard my name," and like he just walks in and goes, "So I'm supposed to be fighting this little peepsqueak?" And Naruto turns around pretty slowly and just goes that like he starts stuttering really badly and like just starts crying and runs straight into Jiraiya, starts hugging and says, "Why did you have to go on that mission? Why did you go on that mission alone? Why did you have to die that day? You never got to see me become Hokage. You never got to see my children. You never got to see my wife. You didn't get to see me being married. You never got to see this and that. Why did you have to go alone?" And Jiraiya is kind of confused, like, what is this kid talking about? And the third Hokage at this point already knew um that Jiraiya died and Naruto knew him, but just wanted this basically and wanted it to be kind of a surprise. So he didn't say right away. He only, you know. Then he basically asked Naruto what he's talking about. What do you mean? I never got to see this and that. And what was called Naruto says sorry about that. And Naruto then goes to the third Hokage and says, "Can I show him the future?" And Jiraiya hears it and says, "What do you mean the future?" And Tsurukage agrees that Jiraiya is trustworthy 100% and also wants, not to be able to talk to Jiraiya a lot easily about the future and stuff. And so Naruto shows Jiraiya all the memories that he has of him and Jiraiya hanging out, shows him the memories of his children, of his wife Hinata, of him being the Hokage, and of course what the future Konoha looked like before and after, and what's called how like all the fights that he had to go through and all that. And Jiraiya would say, "I'm so sorry for what you've had to gone through. So I what you've gone through, Naruto. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you then." And says that even though I've technically barely met you in this timeline, it already feels like I've known you for a while. And would tell Naruto that his parents would be proud of him. And this makes Naruto kind of tear up a bit. And so afterwards, they go to the fields in order to go, well, in order to go fight, which was the original plan. And what's called, I'm sorry to say it, but Jiraiya gets pretty beaten up here quite easily. Before the fight started, Naruto showed Jiraiya some things. Sorry, it's called showed Jiraiya some of his like techniques and some of his forms. For example, he shows him KCM2, which he's able to hold for a good amount of time, just not too long. Like, he can't hold it for as long as he wants to, but for now he can hold it for a decent amount of time before it really starts damaging his body. And he also can use the Sage of Six Paths power, and basically, gets those orbs around him, the Sage Mode eyes, the Astra staff, or the Black Staff, and the ability to fly. So he gets all that, and oh man, sorry, I've already man, I've been on like within or two times within like a few like less than a minute. But yeah, and so Jiraiya like is basically like just like wow, he's able to do all this. I'm kind of toast. And Osaka Naruto tells Jiraiya how he's met the Sage of Six Paths and this is his power, and that he also has every single tailed beast, and if he wanted, he can use all their abilities and can use all their helps because he's befriended every single one of them. And yeah, Jiraiya and the third Hokage are just astonished, and he also tells Jiraiya that he's mastered all five or like five chakra natures, or all five. I forgot how many they are in total, but either way, he's mastered five. I know that for sure. And what's called and also tells Jiraiya that he found out how to add uh wind chakra onto a Rasengan to make a wind shuriken Rasengan, and he also tells him how he knows multiple different forms that he's either come up with or used in the past. And so yeah, Naruto and Sasuke, or not Naruto, sorry, Naruto and what's called Jiraiya start to fight after that, and Naruto's still in KCM2, but decides to turn everything else off, and just starts fighting him hand to hand. They start trying to make some jutsu. He Jiraiya goes into Sage mode, but even that doesn't really help. It helps him, but like not to an extent that he can beat Naruto. Because again, Naruto has fought in the King of the Otsutsuki, Otsutsuki, yeah, his their king, and he is pretty powerful. So I'm pretty sure he'd be able to take on Jiraiya pretty easily at this point, even without all of his abilities. Because again, he has basically all of his abilities. It's just that some are either weak or weakened, or some are just like take a lot of chakra out of him currently, and he won't be able to use to its full extent till he's older. But for the most part, he does basically everything. And so yeah, afterwards, Naruto wins, and uh, Jiraiya also asked if he's done a summoning contract yet, because he knows he's done one in the past, but doesn't know if he's done one currently. And Naruto says, "Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about all that. No, I haven't." And so Jiraiya takes out a scroll and then gives him a you know, tells him, reminds him what to do, and of course Naruto already knows, and he does it, and he ends up um summoning the Toad Chief, Toad Chief, aka Gamabunta, the giant toad man. And so, yeah, and of course, Gamabunta asked, "Where's Jiraiya?" and doesn't believe that Naruto summoned him, and Naruto has to prove himself to him, and which he does pretty easily just by showing him some of his abilities, his chakra, all that. And so this time, Gamabunta agreed to be, you know, basically Naruto's servant, or a follower of Naruto, instead of him being the boss. And afterwards, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna cut to the end of the 1 month training part, and cut straight back to what's it called, to where the Chunin exams are supposed to start. And so they start, or I'm not gonna say they start, but it's the day before Naruto goes to bed. He wakes up and he gets there pretty early, along with Sasuke this time. Sasuke doesn't get there late. With Kakashi, makes a flashy entrance. But yeah, so the first fight is of course Naruto versus who was it? That was Neji. Naruto versus Neji, and Naruto still tries to do, or tries more in the fight, but still gives a speech about how he's gonna change the Hyuga way. That he was once a failure too, but it's because they called me weak, and the normal speech, the talk no jutsu speech, and which of course changes Neji into a better man and all that. And so yeah, Naruto then waits at the bleachers, and then next up is Shikamaru versus Tamari. That goes basically the same. And then there's Sasuke versus Gara, and Gara mainly feels safe around Naruto, Naruto only, and Naruto made sure the seal was enough so it Shikaku wouldn't be able to bother Gara, but Shikaku could still pop out if Naruto. I mean, if Gara's bloodlust pops out. And during the fight, uh, Sasuke hits Gara, and which makes him bleed, which also makes Gara freak out. And because of this, he starts transforming and he runs away. Then the Konoha crush because Naruto informed Orochimaru to continue, but try not to hurt that many people, or try not to, just injure a decent amount, but just don't kill them. And Orochimaru would agree to, also instruct the Sand Ninja not to do that. And they would kind of just like go, why? But Orochimaru would eventually convince them. So, man, I am yawning too much. I am like sorry. I don't know. Okay, so Naruto and Sasuke would both go after Gaara this time, and yeah, Sasuke decides to fight Gaara for a bit just to weaken him and get him to a state where what's called they can literally knock some sense into him, and they eventually do, and what's called they change Gaara, into a good guy by Naruto giving another talk no jutsu, two talk no jutsus in 1 day, yeah, the normal. And so, um, yeah, and afterwards, the third Hokage, or Naruto go to the third Hokage and tell him that, or ask him why don't we just go after Lady Tsunade because she's a great healer, and also say that she can also take your place as the Hokage as she is very trustworthy and she was the Hokage in the future. And Naruto, of course, did this just so Tsunade would become the Hokage, because she wants her to at least come to the village, and that's the main way he can really think about bringing her. And the third Hokage agrees and says he'll run that by the elders because in his opinion, the third Hokage would be pretty good as you know, as a Hokage. And he tells Jiraiya about the mission to go get Tsunade, and Jiraiya also agrees because third Hokage thinks about it and says that he knows Jiraiya won't become Hokage because Jiraiya doesn't want to. And the next best thing is probably to be Tsunade, another one of, his former students, of course. And yeah, so on this mission, Naruto asks the third Hokage if Jiraiya and Sasuke can come along. And what's called, because remember, not the Sasuke isn't out of commission like in canon. He's actually basically perfectly fine. And the third Hokage agrees. So afterwards, the next day, they go and head out, and they stop by this one town to stay at a hotel for a bit. And Jiraiya gets distracted by a lady, and Sasuke is kind of following behind, but not too far, just in case, just in case anything like that, or like the original happens, where Itachi's there, or they're planning on Itachi being there, but they don't want Itachi to sense um Sasuke's, chakra, so Sasuke stays back by a bit. And Naruto goes into the hotel alone and waits there. As soon as he hears a knock, he goes into KCM 2, and then he lets them barge into the door. And so then all of a sudden they just see what's called Naruto, Naruto in KCM 2 mode just standing there. And again, I'm pretty sure Naruto at this point would be able to beat Itachi because again, it's the king of the Otsutsuki clan. I'm pretty sure he'd be able to beat that. And so yeah, he then starts fighting, and he also has to fight Kisame, but he makes a clone for that. And Itachi comes in, and as soon as Itachi sees Sasuke, uh, Itachi tries to go fight him, but not, and then Sasuke dodges him, goes to Kisame, and then puts him under a genjutsu, which knocks him out, putting him to kind of sleep. And so then afterwards, Itachi would try to fight Sasuke, but Sasuke again, Itachi, I not Itachi, Sasuke and Naruto both went to go fight the Otsutsuki King, and they both been through the exact same thing. So I'm pretty sure at this point they'd be able to be Itachi and what's it called. They're both not really trying, but they're both just trying to handle Itachi, just so they can also talk to him. And eventually, um, what's his name? Oh yeah, Sasuke tells Itachi that I know why you killed our clan. I know you did that for me. I know you did that for the Leaf Village. I know you wanted to protect me. I know you want me to get stronger. And Itachi's like, how do you know? Did the third Hokage tell you? He promised to keep that a secret no matter what. And Sasuke would go, no, he didn't tell me. What's called future or future me found out because of somebody named Toby, also known as Obito Uchiha, also known as Madara Uchiha, because he went by all those. And so, um, it's gonna touch you, look shocked, like he told you, and what's called. And of course, Jiraiya would get there and go, "What about Obito Uchiha? And why is Itachi, or why are you guys talking to Itachi Uchiha?" And uh, Naruto kind of explains his plan to Jiraiya and goes, "Okay, well I trust you for now on this, Naruto." And what's called Naruto basically tells Itachi that they want him to come back to the village, that they'll accept you. We already told the third Hokage about our plans, and he'll say, or he'll try to vouch for you and stuff. The most you'll get is like a little bit of prison time, just like your little brother here in the future. And Itachi goes, "What do you guys mean by the future? You guys keep on saying this, but I don't know what you guys are talking about." And Naruto will go, "Don't worry, I'll handle this." And he'll go up to Itachi, put his hand on his, you know, he would Naruto put his hand on Itachi's face, and then would tell Itachi to close his eyes, and then they both do. And he shows him some memories of what's called Sasuke, everything that Sasuke told him about Itachi, the masked man, aka Obito, and also some things about uh Sasuke's wife, aka Sakura, in the future. It also shows him his his future niece, aka Sarada. And and also what happened to Konoha before and after, same thing with Jiraiya. And Itachi would open his eyes and a few tears would fall out, and he would tell Sasuke that he's sorry for what he had to put, um, what he had to go through and all that. And Sasuke says it's fine. The only thing that could make up for it is if you go back to the village. And at first Itachi says, I can't. I still have some business with the Akatsuki. I have to find out some more intel and send it to the Leaf Village. And what's called? Um, Sasuke and Naruto both explain to Itachi how they basically already know everything about the Akatsuki, and you know their plans, they know what they're going to do, and chances are, if something changes, they're going to know when and what, you know. And they basically have a plan to bring back most of the Akatsuki members, except for a few that don't deserve it. And yeah, so they then basically start heading towards Tsunade, the next spot. And this time Itachi's following them, but from the shadow, just so he isn't seen in public or anything like that. And they eventually make it, and of course Tsunade is gambling, like always. And yeah, so then Naruto runs, or Jiraiya runs up to Tsunade, and they go get something to eat. Him, Jiraiya, Naruto, Sasuke, and her assistant. I forgot what her assistant's name was. I don't know why I forget names so easily. You guys always comment about that. I don't know. I just have a really bad time memorizing names. I don't even like know my family members' names. Like it's because well I'm Mexican, so we call our you know like we go papa something, mama something, even if they're not our parents. Like even our tias and tios. That's how it is in my family, and we do it by like mama and then their first name. And I don't have like any of them memorized at all, even though I've been taught them several times. I'm just really bad with names. And so yeah, anyway, her and they sit down and they basically start talking, and uh, Jiraiya explains to Tsunade that the Hokage wants her to be the fifth Hokage, and also wants her to help heal some of the people that were attacked during the Konoha Crush. And what's called Tsunade at first doesn't want to, and that's when bad mouths what's it the previous Hokages, and Naruto and Sasuke would start speaking up and say, "Don't speak bad about the Hokages. You should be ashamed. You're the granddaughter of the first Hokage. You should be proud of that." And what's called talking bad about the Hokages and speaking like that is basically offending me. And then they both, or at least Naruto says that's because I'm gonna be Hokage. And Tsunade of course gets a small memory of her little brother, and uh, agrees only if they can fight him, or only if both of them can beat Tsunade. And Tsunade is of course cocky, but then uh, Naruto and Sasuke start walking out. They're both kind of smiling, and Jiraiya goes up to Tsunade and says, "Well, Tsunade, I'm just saying you should try pretty hard because Naruto, that kid, the blonde kid over there, he was able to beat me all by himself when I was in Sage Mode, trying 100%, and and I haven't seen what the other kid can do." And so and Tsunade says, "You're joking, right?" And then kind of takes in a big gulp and um, starts walking outside. And of course, Tsunade gets absolutely pummeled. And, she agrees. She walks back kind of, not saddened, but just not in a proud walk. She's basically looking down the whole entire time. And Naruto and Sasuke are laughing about it. And eventually she cheers up and they start going back. And this time they don't, count Orochimaru. They don't counter, it's not going to be that one fight scene where it's all the three Sonic versus each other. Ain't, or not each other, it's, two Sonic versus one Sonic. It's nothing like that. How it was in canon. It's none of that basically happened because this time Orochimaru is with the Leaf Village technically, and didn't kill the third Hokage and didn't get his arms. Um, basically he didn't get his arms disabled, and he can still do jutsu, so he never went to Tsunade. And so yeah, now they make it back to the Leaf Village, and eventually the what's called the council or the elders agree to have Tsunade become the fifth Hokage, and what's called, and then that's when Naruto walks in with Itachi and Sasuke, and they're both alarmed and like, "What are you doing? Don't you know that's a criminal, you two little brats?" And what's called, uh what's his name? The third Hokage is there and says it's fine. What's called? He's coming back to Leaf Village, and the third Hokage. Sorry. The elders say, "Why? Why do you want a criminal to come back?" And third Hokage says, "Well, he's not really a criminal since it's technically our fault that he had to do that." And or then the third Hokage would say, "Well, actually, technically, it's Danzo's fault for doing the reckless things that he's done." And the elder is saying, "What are you talking about?" And the third Hokage would say, "Show them, Naruto." And Naruto would then go up to the two elders and then put his hands on their foreheads, tell them to close their eyes, and show them all the horrible things that Danzo has done in the past. All the stories that's happened, all that. Cause yeah, and so the elder would say, "Danzo, is all I've seen right now. Did all that really happen?" And Danzo would start saying no, but then that's when Naruto would cut off his arm that has all the or not Renegons, all the Sharingans, and I forgot what the arm was called. But yeah, he cuts it off and shows it, unwraps it, and tells him unwrap his eye. And of course, he has a Sharingan in it, and and Naruto explains to them what that is and everything. It says that Danzo has been trying to become the Hokage and trying to sabotage a whole bunch of things for a while. And the third Hokage agrees to basically banish Danzo, although, or like at least imprison him. Yeah, they agreed to imprison him and basically disable his Sharingan that he has in his eye. And so yeah, and Itachi is allowed back into the village. He moves in the old Uchiha compound along with Sasuke in their old house, and they're kind of saddened that they don't have their family and all this had to happen, but they're glad at least they're both back. And so yeah, that's where I'm going to leave out this what if. I'm sorry it's a little bit shorter than usual. It's only like I think 28 minutes or 27 minutes long. Usually I like to do them like 30 minutes to an hour, but yeah. Um, Either way, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, all that. I might be making a new part to what if Naruto had Ultra Instincts tomorrow. And if you haven't watched the first part, please go watch it. It helps and supports me a lot. But yeah. So all that aside, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.